Something's cooking in Miami, and it's not just the heat rolling off Biscayne Bay. There's a different spark in the air right now, a feeling that something big might be flipping. It's stories of redemption, tension behind closed doors, and somehow, a little shot of hope breaking through that aqua and orange horizon. What felt lost might be coming back to life, or is it? The fans feel it, the locker room's buzzing, and the field is starting to answer. You're not gonna believe what we've got today. So settle in, hit that like button, and let's get straight to it. Some players can flip a game. Very few can flip their entire career. And Jack Jones is writing exactly that kind of story in Miami. When this season started, the questions around the Dolphins secondary were heavy. The defense was struggling to slow down passing attacks, stacking losses and frustration that felt like it was draining the soul out of the team. But right in the middle of all that chaos, one name started showing up between the lines. A guy a lot of people had already given up on. Jack Jones. Early on, he looked lost. Miami's defensive scheme demanded a sharp adjustment, asking him to play physical at the line of scrimmage in a way he hadn't mastered yet. During the summer, people inside the building kept calling it a trial by fire. He got thrown into matchups with Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the league's best route runners, and it was rough. It looked like he was heading toward another sad chapter in the book of wasted potential. Then the flip happened. Starting in week 6, Jones began to answer on the field. What used to be doubt turned into confidence. The numbers back it up. Passes thrown his way tanked in efficiency. Opposing QB ratings dropped by half, and the impact plays finally showed up. The peak was that wild overtime win against Washington in Madrid, when he picked off Zach Ertz to seal a game everyone thought was slipping away. That wasn't just a win. It was a redemption arc breaking open right in front of us. Fans knew it instantly. Social media lit up, and his name became a symbol of the defensive backbone the team had been missing. But what stands out most is his mindset. After being cut twice and dealing with drama off the field, Jones finally seems to have found a home in Miami, a place where he can grow without dragging around the weight of old mistakes. And he's been grateful. In a recent interview, he praised Mike McDaniel and said he's never been pushed in such a positive way. It might sound small, but if you know the league's inner workings, that's a big signal. Something's shifting, both in Jack Jones and in the Dolphins culture. So the big question now is, has he earned the right to stay? If he keeps this pace, with confident tackling, quiet leadership, and technical consistency, there's no reason not to offer him another year. He's earned a shot at the future. And if the team chooses to invest in him, it's more than a contract. It's a message. Because we're not just talking about a cornerback. We're talking about someone who represents the fight every Dolphins fan carries. When they refuse to let go of the dream, and the wild part is, this might only be the beginning. Because while the defense wakes back up, another storyline is hitting the fan base right in the chest. This time, it's a familiar face. When a player comes back home, what exactly does he bring with him? For Minka Fitzpatrick, returning to Miami wasn't just a jersey swap. It was a reunion with a past that never fully settled. A fan base that once saw him walk away is now trying to understand whether this next chapter is redemption or just a temporary rewrite in a story still being drafted. And in true Minka fashion, it hasn't come without controversy. The last few weeks have been intense for the Dolphins' safety. On the field, he's been playing at the level that made him an All-Pro and a regular at the Pro Bowl. Strong tackles, sharp reads, and that quiet leadership that shifts the energy of everyone around him. But off the field, his name is back in the headlines, thanks to 2 fines from the NFL, one for a low block and another for a hip drop tackle, a move the league is cracking down on. Altogether, it was close to $30,000 in penalties. For anyone, that's tough. For Fitzpatrick, it's more than a dent in the wallet. It's a warning. The league is tightening its standards and he needs to adjust without losing the edge. That made him one of the hardest hitting safeties out there. While the league decides what's clean or not, Dolphins fans are split. Some say he's a victim of today's overprotective rulebook. Others say a vet like him needs cleaner technique to avoid giving refs excuses. But the football impact is undeniable. Since coming back, he's added depth and stability to the defense. He's become the mind in the secondary, the guy diagnosing plays seconds before the snap. His presence changes everything. Young players like Cam Smith and Jevon Holland have mentioned him as the standard for preparation and discipline. That's priceless for a team still developing its identity, and there's an emotional layer too. Anyone who remembers his trade to the Steelers in 2019 knows there were hard feelings on both sides. Now, with him back, it feels like a circle finally closing. He's grown, the team has grown, and maybe this reconnection is the fuel this defense needed. As the team hits the bye week, Minka remains a major topic. He's practicing hard, talking with coaches, and showing he wants to leave a mark on this new era. If he manages to balance that aggression with the discipline the league demands, he could turn into the anchor this defense has been missing. But if you think the story stops here, you haven't seen what's taking shape in the distance. Because there's a spark of hope flickering again in the minds of this fan base. Something that felt impossible not long ago. Being a Dolphins fan comes with something special. This stubborn kind of belief that refuses to die, even when the record looks bleak. After 2-7, with a mountain ahead, a lot of people would say the season's done. But what if it isn't? What if there's still a narrow path? A shaky little route that could pull this team into the playoffs? That's the thought living in every fan's mind right now. And honestly, that's exactly what makes football beautiful, with the bye week forcing a reset. McDaniel and the locker room know this is the moment for reflection and adjustment. The good news is the next opponent is the New Orleans Saints, sitting at just 2 wins. It's the perfect reset point. Miami enters rested, players healing, and the defense showing real signs of revival. If they beat the Saints, the entire vibe shifts. Not just statistically, but emotionally. Then comes the New York Jets, always a heated rivalry. And this is where things get interesting. Tyrod Taylor, the Jets' new quarterback, has a weird history of giving Miami problems. He's been a thorn before, but these are different times. With the defense rebuilt around Jones and Fitzpatrick, this matchup could become a statement. If Miami stacks to wins, the dream starts turning into a plan. The rest of the schedule isn't friendly, but it's not impossible. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are both tough, but both unstable. If either comes in missing key players, and there are rumors of that happening, Miami has a real shot to steal one. The key is treating every game like a final. That's the difference between good teams and resilient ones. And McDaniel knows the invisible push from the fan base might be what tips the scale. And if they reach the second to last week with Tampa Bay coming to town, it could turn electric. A team fighting for survival at home, with the crowd losing its mind. That's the kind of game people talk about for years. And the finale? A trip to Foxborough against the Patriots, the biggest scar in Dolphins history. Imagine winning there to clinch an unlikely playoff spot. That would be poetic. Sure, the odds are slim, but fandom isn't about odds. It's about emotion, faith, belief that shows up before the math says it can. There's something different in Miami right now. A unity, a reset, a sense that the worst might finally be behind them. Analysts can crunch their numbers. Fans are making promises. Because this final stretch might be the moment that marks the start of the turnaround. What we saw today wasn't just stats. It was soul. It was heart. It was a team that, even wounded, still believes. Jack Jones fought his way back. Minka brought leadership home. And that playoff spark came back to life when nobody saw it coming. The Miami Dolphins are still alive, and this story is far from done. Now it's on us, the fans. You believe, then drop a comment, share that hope, hit like, and subscribe, because we're riding this all the way, defending our team with pride, passion, and faith in the impossible.